spam and low value spam. Again, it's all communication.
All you need is love.
Yo, tell that to Hamas. Tell that to the people that are holding hostages. Tell them that, Tell them that. But they don't have ears to listen. If they don't surrender...
the Beatles really loud for all of them,
It's over for them. I don't know if you know, but Trump is preparing to send 1 million people to Libya. It's happening. They're getting ready to do the largest mass mobilization, in one of the largest mass mobilizations in recent human history. Yeah, you can look to the left. You can deny reality. Gaza isn't there. It's rubble. It's unlivable. It's a toxic war zone.
Teach me about high-value spam.
Yeah, just maybe try to shut up and meditate. That would be the highest value spam.
So where does it go in your picture? Because I see your picture as a universe. Where does the high-value spam go in that picture?
I don't know, Danny.
You know you're the most annoying person on this app, right? Like, I don't know if you're self-aware, but like...
Yeah.
Nuha,
Oh, believe me, I'm aware.
I feel like we may be at a tie.
I'm talking about comedian, don't worry.
I mean, you can giggle like a little schoolgirl and try to play all cute, but, without you, this room is really boring, to be honest. But the point is, all communication is projection, spam, and hypnosis.
For some crazy reason, probably my own defects, I've come to like him. For some reason. There's something about him. Plus, I don't mind being recorded. Plus, not many people are listening. Plus, he seems to like me, and I like it when people like me.
Wait, is he recording us right now?
Probably. He always
Yeah, he had like my pictures on Instagrams and stuff. I'm just saying that, the internet is forever, and, I need to be accountable for all the dumb shit I say 24/7,
He put my naked pictures up. I sent him news, and he put them on the... Why are you laughing? I'm not sending you any more nudes, by the way, comedian.
Comedian, you fucked up. Don't you dare post my recordings on my face anywhere.
I'm not. I just live stream myself. A lot of people do this. It's not a big deal.
Okay.
But nobody listens to me anyways, and I'm blocked by all the... Yeah, I'm just labeled as spam. So I can accurately diagnose spam because I myself know that I'm spam, and I create spam.
Except spam is not kosher.
Very true, it's haram.
It's haram.
Is he kosher? I don't think he keeps kosher.
Not the point. Do you know what spam is, by the way? I think it's pork shoulder or something. It's the weirdest thing. Yes, Hermes. Listen, I tried to buy an Hermes scarf for my girlfriend in the airport, and it was like $500, and I'm like, okay, not yet. I'm not quite ready for that.
You're not committed enough to her?
It's not that. I just thought that was a lot of money for a scarf.
So I know this girl, and she was dating this guy for like a week, and he bought her the Chanel that's like $5,000. And then he broke up with her the next week. Like, what did she do that he thought she was worth that bag and then broke up with her? And he was still paying payments on that bag, she said.
Guys are funny. I want to pay cash for it.
Wait,
I like that you didn't ask for the bag back.
I want to know where he went.
Did they sleep together?
Probably.
If I may ask. Okay, well. Now you have your answer. Then it was worth it.
Oh, Mama, has your girlfriend earned the scarf, right? Or not yet?
Oh, many times over. Much more than that. It's not really a material transactional relationship. It's like helping each other. We remind each other to pray.
What do you think about Israelis prolonging this situation and thus why we're at where we're at now? I mean, why October 7th happened? Because Israel was playing this international cooperation game. If you look at the Israeli Defense League by Kahane or that guy, and you read it, it's not. I've read like the bullet points in the book. It's not dramatic and it's not even extremist. It's about Jewish security and preventing death by terrorism. So, and if you look at the videos of Yasser Arafat, that fish-looking slobbering pig, I can't believe international leaders even respected him. He's so disgusting, and his speeches are
It's
so
very
just
weird. It's
ridiculous
very
that
weird.
it's amazing that that scam lasted as long as it did.
It's a little bit like the Soviet communist scam. It's really all the same kind of thing. This idea that the oppressed are going to rise up. By the way, Nuha, that guy was what? Algerian? The guy you were talking to, Arby? He had a
Yeah, he claimed to be Moroccan, but in
he
Arabic.
had a not. He put a swastika in his PTR.
Yeah.
So that's who we're dealing with.
And he was like, no Moroccan would say they support Hezbollah and they support like the Houthis and Iran. So and Algeria as well, take like the Western Sahara. So I knew he was Algerian, and his username had Tlemcen. Tlemcen is a part of Algeria, like it's a region. So yeah, I knew he wasn't Moroccan.
Do you think are the Algerians crazy like this? Like they're pro-Shia or something?
Yeah, the Algerians are very pro-Iran.
Why?
Because they're like anti-imperial resistance, and they also like they dislike Morocco, and Morocco is more aligned with the West, and so diplomatically, like geopolitically speaking, they are kind of like against what we are aligned with. So they go with Iran, and they actually Hezbollah funds the Polisario, which are the forces that they put in the Western Sahara to ignite like uprisings against the Western Sahara, so that like Morocco doesn't hold on to it.
So Iran is fighting Morocco.
Yeah, and when the Iranian Revolution happened, our king back then, Hassan II, he was the first to takfir the Ayatollah, which is base.
What does that mean to takfir?
Like to condemn him and to excommunicate him from Islam.
I didn't know that was takfir. By the way, there's a nice person here named Shlomi who people should. I'm inviting you up, Shlomi, but you don't have to speak if you don't want to. But he's a beautiful human being that we could all learn from. Shlomi Ziv is here. Sorry to interrupt you, Nuha.
What up, Shlomi?
The problem is not just distinct to Israel, Gaza, West Bank, etc. It's in every major American city. I mean, violence, terrorism, crime, these things are global pandemics, and they seem to be escalating in the West because of a mass inflow of immigrants from a lot of Muslim countries. I go to the park right now. There's a guy singing in Chinese. There are Muslim women with their children playing. I'm fine with that. Guys, been seeing it my whole life, but at some point, I mean, I'm really beginning to question all of our political leadership. The mayor of Chicago seems to me to be an outright fraud and criminal. He's awarding countless billions of dollars to only black businesses. We have a major divide in this country, and it's toxic, and it's an epidemic. I mean, the size of government is an epidemic from the state to the federal. There are so many political positions that drain the resources, plus the taxpayers, the voters, the homeowners, and the property insurance, the property taxes. It's just killing people. I mean, you can't stop working. So I don't know what the solutions are. I mean, I feel like maybe the U.S. federal government should assume all state governments or something. I mean, I think America has a big problem, and future generations have no idea what they're up against with regards to the debt.
I got a quick solution. We need to make education, higher education, absolutely free.
Yeah, it's called the library. Have you heard of that, Hermes? I don't know if you know this, but things don't actually get that much more intelligent outside of what's called a library. We won't have laboratories. Okay, you can still have laboratories, but trust me, Hermes, the library is where all knowledge and intelligence is residing. It's not on the internet.
I know. That's what I do online.
Doesn't higher education lead to more like lefty kind of commie, pro-Hamas rhetoric? Anything. A lot of people that I know became like, Marxist and like anti-West because of university.
Yeah, I mean, Trump is doing away with that.
It's kind of dumb.
Well, I mean, I really feel like, hey, if I want to go to Princeton or Yale or Harvard, I should be able to do that. like easily. If
Yeah,
that's what I want
that's
to
a
do.
communistic, socialistic enterprise, what you're talking about. And they're already doing that. I mean, they all do DEI, affirmative action still, for the most part. Or if they don't, they're getting sued. I mean, Trump has really changed the culture on a full 180. America is headed back in the right direction, but it's a long way back.
See, this is why I like comedian. You see, Nuha? He's got his head screwed on right.
Free university, I think, is a horrible idea. Hello, everyone. This whole idea is for everyone to be college educated, not being like an elite goal. How many people are squandering their money, number one, and then they can't even get employment post-college? Ian's right. You can get, and nowadays with technology, you don't even have to go to a library. It's all on your smartphone. I think we're going to see less college attendance, and I don't think college will become completely irrelevant, but I think that's the direction it's going to go. And he's also right, Newha's very right about academia being infiltrated with leftism and Marxism. So, Normal, I do think that the tides may be turning, but it's going to be a long road to weed that out of academia. Very long road.
Right, but like I could teach myself everything, right? We all can. But we're not going to get any college credits or recognition, so it won't matter.
So then why do we pay property taxes? Why are we funding all of these giant school systems and all these communist teachers? This woman, Stacey Davis, the head of the Chicago Teachers Union, she is a hardcore communist radical. And they're all hardcore communist radicals, but they're actually all racists.
It's the nature of the field. A lot of people who get into academia and like undertake PhDs and research and beyond, they fall into leftism. I don't know why exactly, but it's in my experience at university. I went through this myself. The teachers, the professors, they were like trying to promote a very specific worldview. Even when I was learning history and politics, and it shows. Like they do shape the way you think. I had to unlearn a lot of concepts that I was sort of like that were pushed on me.
Yeah, well, the Federal Reserve System is not a communist liberal organized. They are debt creators with Congress, and so the irony is, the leftists may have power in all these institutions, but they're not in charge of the banking industrial complex. Those are conservatives, and they're generally frugalists, and they know they also have a big problem if they keep allowing these liberals to spend countless trillions that don't exist. I mean, the system is approaching unsustainable debt, which essentially leads to hyperinflation. And America the generation has retired. All these baby boomers, they're done. I don't know how they're going to employ enough people to keep this system even moving. It's so monolithic. And these aircraft carriers, these battle tanks, these tanks, the whole system, I think, has a huge brain drain problem coming up. Plus the lack of birth because of the COVID-19 vaccine. Nobody can have children anymore. So if there is such a thing as some type of conspiracy to depopulate and destroy America, Bill Gates, Dr. Fauci, Pfizer, Moderna, J&J, and the European elite have achieved it. I mean, the birth rate has plummeted. I don't know if you've seen the charts, but it's beyond. I mean, I'm 42. I don't have a kid. I know a lot of girls that don't have kids. 40s, 30s, 20s. Nobody has kids. Nobody's having new kids. It all happened, 10 years ago or pre-pandemic.
This is nothing to do with the vaccine. It's a social shift, not like a biological one.
Oh, really? Have you not seen how spike protein cells affect your uterus and affect male testes? I know you don't know everything, Nuha. You just think you do.
No, but comedian, you do realize the decline of the birth rate in the West has been a phenomenon way before the COVID pandemic. And
Yeah, we've aborted 30 million children in this country. We kill 100,000 children a month at Planned Parenthood and spend 10 billion a month doing it. If Trump can't even get rid of that, I don't know what this country is decaying. It's rotting. I mean, it's been a 60-year project to destroy it, but it's people like Obama and Hillary Clinton that have actively pursued the destruction of our people in this country.
destroying the family is Marxist because they believe that the family institution is like catered towards like capitalism, and it's a form of like resisting. But like I do realize a lot of people who went to university as well, they became anti-natalist. Is that the name? And it's very popular among some Gen Z people from my generation. Like they vow to not have children. They don't want to have children. They dislike the idea of kids. So I think it's a cultural, social shift.
Do you know how boring it is not to have a child? I mean, it's one of the gifts of God, to have a child. I mean, you as a woman, your special privy parts are the gateway to paradise, which is here now. So, the philosophy at the political level, at the liberal Marxist communist, see, these people are so low IQ. I don't even think they know really what they're trying to achieve. You can always ask them, and they'll always say wealth redistribution, but they don't even understand how the Federal Reserve System works, or how Congress works, or how budgets and acts and bills get passed, and where all the money's coming from. So they're living in la la land, and they're really low IQ. That's why hence they're liberal communist Marxists, because they don't even understand how to start a business or how value is created. So they are intellectually challenged because they're unaware of what the actual environment is. They are trying to create their own environment by being, reality shifters, by essentially just creating spam. That's really what they are. Is all these liberal Marxist communists are just spam creators.
I
And
think the biggest tragedy is that the lack of birth rate has led to the needs for immigration and bringing in migrant groups, and it's been done in a reckless way where they brought people who don't really
these
like
aren't high
have
skilled
similar
workers that can
values.
create any value. All they do is suck on the system. They don't actually create any value for the system. They're just parasites and predators. That's all they are. And as Americans, it's
Also,
our right and necessity to defend this country against foreign invasion. I think Trump has to suspend habeas corpus immediately and begin the largest deportation effort in conjunction with the largest Palestinian Gaza deportation effort. I think it's coming.
okay, relax, buddy, relax.
We're never going to let that happen,
Ruha.
comedian. You know that.
What did you say? They're literally making plans to listen. How can you live in what's left of Gaza? It's not livable. It's not far-fetched that people have to find a place to go to be refugees.
I think he's referring to the entire region, not just Gaza, but the West Bank and everything, right? A comedian?
Oh, I thought he was talking about America.
Judea and
That
Samaria
too.
are another question altogether. But certainly they were part of the Ring of Fire. They shot a pregnant woman with a laser rifle like 4 days ago. Imagine somebody on a hill with a gun shooting at people they don't know. What would you call that in any other situation? He shoots a pregnant woman who's driving to the hospital to have her baby. So they do a cesarean, they take the baby out, and the woman passes away. This is what we're up against, Nuha. This happened a few days ago. These are people who could live in peace if they chose to. All they got to do was put the guns down, and they could. Israel would help them have a fantastic middle class life.
Do you know who was behind that, by the way? Like, was there a specific group or?
Well, they're tracing the people now. They've got a bunch of army guys working on it. I mean, Look, I told you, I was in the territories in Judea and Samaria a couple weeks ago, and there are people on the hills. They throw rocks and they shoot guns at random cars. The Israelis have different license plates, so they look for the Israeli license plate and they shoot. For what? They're shooting at random civilians.
Well, now you know why that Israeli politician is passing out M16A4s to the people of towns in these, occupied territories, because if they're not armed, they will die from terrorists.
I think that they're M4s, by the way. I asked.
Go ahead.
And I don't even call them occupied territories. I call them Jewish towns in Judea and Samaria. Never mind occupied. What's occupied about it?
Meaning that that's the label that the left or these other organizations give it. I mean, in America, you can get carjacked. I mean, Chicago has a major carjacking problem. That's why I say it's not just unique to that area. Like, crime is
I
crime.
heard this. I heard it happening in LA too. That if you have a watch in a car, they'll come and take your watch in your car.
Yeah.
But you guys realize that the new pope is going to fix a lot of things.
Yeah, right.
For sure.
You know how much
They're
propaganda they put out?
The terrorism away.
You know how much you know what this is I realized today this is like a feel good moment for Catholics where they're putting a guy in who's going to create great content, and that's really what it is. It's one giant propaganda organization, and I personally like the Pope, but I also recognize communication propaganda for what it is, which is projection, spam, and hypnosis. And the Catholic Church has lost how much? Like, I don't know, close to like $1 trillion from all these lawsuits globally, right? So they need somebody in there who can actually communicate. And again, this also goes back to their tax exempt status here in the United States. I mean, this is a strategic move on the behalf of this Cardinal Congress, essentially.
Well, look, I'll land with this real quick. That one of the main objectives of why they chose a pope from the Americas, specifically the United States, is because of our immigration situation. So he's going to remind all of the Catholics that Jesus was an immigrant.
Yeah, but his brother is very conservative, and they're all freaked out about it because they know brothers are thicker than thieves. And so he may put out some positive, feel-good propaganda messaging, but he's actually most likely a conservative Polish guy from Chicago. And generally, 99% of Polacks in Chicago are extremely Republican and conservative. When Trump won the first time, you have no idea. I've never seen so many Polish guys in my whole life at the voting booths. And Poland is basically an ethno state. They didn't allow any immigration into their country. They're the only European country that could actually resist for some reason.
What do you mean? They have no immigration? Is that what you said?
Yeah, you haven't heard this amazing fact about Poland, how it has essentially prevented somehow from being flooded with migrants. I mean, they fought them at the borders with fire trucks spraying them down, putting up barbed wire fences. They fought a war to prevent people from flooding their cities.
Wow. Well, Polish sausage isn't all that.
But Poland is very anti-Semitic, unfortunately, as well.
Try harder, Duha.
Oh, I was saying Poland's very anti-Semitic, and if you look at their politicians, they invoke a lot of Jewish conspiracies when it comes to their elections because they're very popular tropes.
Nuha, you're close to 2 to 3 months late here, right? I mean, back in February, January, every single remark made like what you have tried would provoke a lot of, trigger, right? The Jewish will be mad, they will be very challenging every of your remark, but you are 2-3 months late.
Can I say something? Because I just got back from Poland. I was there 2 weeks ago, and I was in Krakow. So I want to tell you a few things. I'd say pretty much every service person I ran into, people working at the hotels, people in the hair salons, the Uber drivers, everybody was Ukrainian. There were so many Ukrainians in Krakow, it was crazy. So to say they don't let immigration, just spend some time there and see who your workforce is in Krakow. I was in some of the smaller towns outside of Krakow because we were looking at the killing fields and the killing forests area. And you absolutely, number one, there is immigration there. And number two, there were 8,000 Jewish, well, not all Jews, actually, because there were a lot of Christians that went on the March of the Living. But there are a lot of Jewish groups that go there on a regular basis for heritage trips. And they are incredibly gracious to us, and were very gracious to us.
Well, let me
I didn't have
correct
an
that.
issue.
I
My
meant
second
Muslim
trip to
immigration.
Poland, I'd like to finish because I literally just got back. So my second trip there, and I think that the people walking around with yarmulkes on their heads were more comfortable there than they are in Los Angeles walking around. So I would take issue with what you're saying.
I
What
meant
the government
Muslim
does,
immigration.
different positions of the government can, you can get some horrible people in the government that come out with horrible statements. But the people that we ran into and what we experienced, and also the changes that have happened when you go tour Auschwitz and Birkenau, and what the Polish government has now invested in turning that into an area comfortable for these trips, and what it used to be there, no, I'm going to totally disagree with you, and I would say to anyone, you should go see it for yourself.
Maybe officially they may call refugee, but non-officially, right? Every European nation have a different system for Ukrainian than people coming, from the south, right? So the Ukrainian are given a different program. The program is make sure they get a job, right? I mean, I speak for Germany, so they're given different kind of program, right? Whether it's an asylum seeker, you are in a certain camp, right? And you're with limited access, right? So but Ukrainian are treated differently.
I mean, I'm not exaggerating when I tell you what the workforce was there. They were Ukrainian. So if you want to tell me that they don't, I mean,
Abby, it's a trivial
did
point.
I see a big Asian population? No. I mean, I don't know where we're, necessarily looking to see where people have immigrated from, but they definitely absorbed a considerable amount of people. Now, Krakow is closer to Ukraine, so I don't know in Warsaw. I haven't been in Warsaw in many, many years, so I couldn't tell you what's there, but I definitely saw it in Krakow.
So, Abby, what do you propose for coexistence? How can Jews and Muslims live side by side in peace?
Well, we could start with stopping the death threats that we just got 4 of them in my neighborhood this week, telling us that they want to kill us, and they want our blood. So we could start with, in America, trying to accept other people's political views without getting, getting to the point where they have to resort to terrorism. I mean, in terms of over in the Middle East, I'm not able to give you an answer to that. There's so much diplomacy involved, but you have to start respecting other people's religions. I mean, I was in a room yesterday, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing from this one dude, just basically painting Jews as vermin and rats, and I mean, it was horrible. It's just horrible. And I finally said something on stage like, what if you just changed the word Jew to Asian, Black, Hispanic, like how that would sound? It's just horrible. So you have to start with respecting other people and respecting other nationalities and religions. And maybe that's the beginning.
A comedian, I mean, you spend great deal of time live streaming and things. I hear a lot of very correct remarks from you. What lagging is you fail to connect all these positive remarks. Like what is the motivation of all the remarks you make? Is there a strategy behind? What is their plan?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a communication.
You need to connect all the different points, and then you realize America are being attacked systematically, right? And you need to connect the point, and then use your effort, live streaming. You are pretty much 24/7 here to make this aware that you stand out with a view, not on superficial level, but a clear strategy, right? How America are being infiltrated. Where this come from? Are these okay? For example, like they could come from a building.
I know, but Dave, it's just spam
Russia,
wars.
Siberia,
It's just,
right,
it's all spam,
just
Dave.
to spend, right? For example, or they could come from. If you look at the map, right, where the Islam is, Middle East, North Africa, many of them you can easily pay them, few $dollars per day or whatever. They can do whole day spending just like Nuha. So have a strategic explanation of all the positive observation you have made here today.
Well, I was running through some claims that I heard and I wanted to hear from different perspectives, so I learned a few things. I also, made sense of how people conceive of the humanitarian angle. I learned from Al-Normo that Israel recently came out saying that they want to, they are planning or they are mobilizing some form of method to continue ensuring access to food supply.
100%. That is very much they're doing it even as we speak, by the way. I'm not interrupting you. That's literally happening as we speak.
Yeah.
In addition to the siege. Yeah.
I actually Googled it, Normal, after you said that, and I verified it independently, so...
Yeah, I tell the truth. The guys in Emir's room don't believe me, but I tell the truth.
Yeah, I can confirm this thing is true. But we don't know how. I believe they're going to try and distribute it in a way where they make sure it doesn't end up in the hands of Hamas. I hope they are able to do that.
Of course.
There will be soon no more Hamas. No more risk.
But you know that that's not true.
Isn't it the U.S.? Is the U.S. in charge of it, Norma? I'm trying to remember that because the UN was a clusterfuck. So it's the U.S.
I don't see the UN having. Nobody trusts them.
No one trusts them.
It looks like right now. It looks like Israel is still in charge of it. I don't know if that's going to change. If you see our friend who has a Scottish accent, most recent update in our back channel. He's got everything that's going on. He's got very good information.
Well, it's a nice thought to think that Hamas won't get control of the food supply, but they always do.
Yeah.
No, comedian, you need to hear about the Gideon chariot, right? Shallot, right? So the whole idea is, I think by Israeli 24 a.m., I think was yesterday, that was a deadline, I guess. After that, Israel now has gone in, if I'm not wrong. Norman, what do you think?
I'm sorry, I missed your latest question, Dave.
The Gideon, the Bible hero, the operation idea called the Operation Gideon
Chariot. Yeah.
Yes.
What's the questioning of the name is correct?
No, I think we got it right, but the whole idea is Hamas was requesting that a safe escape for their leader and the family, and then they will surrender the arms. I don't know if that happened or not, but that was part of the discussion.
I think Israel would be willing to take something like that. Maybe. At least that was on the table previously. They'd be able to leave and live, but nothing more than that. Because they want to, all these ideas, they're going to stay, but they're not.
Welcome back to New Persuasive Words. I'm Scott Jones.
Nobody trusts anything that they say.
I've been here for a brief moment.
If they gave all the hostages back right away, I think, again, I'm speaking for me, I'm not speaking for Israel. I think Israel would let some of them leave in exchange for all the hostages and their bodies. But I don't think Hamas, by the way, will ever give that up. Because they have nothing else except this ghoulish body snatching that they do, right?
Again, for you, comedian, the main keyword, what you observe in all the spending is called division by deception, right? Or division by spending. Spending can be positive, but for negative, but most of the time is deception, lies, right? So division by deception, and this thing started since 1,400 years ago, okay, comedian? Got to see the big picture. Everything there started 1,400 years ago.
I don't need the history hypnosis, Dave. I live in the now, and I can see that we are surrounded by criminals, traitors, frauds, liars, and scammers everywhere I look. They're everywhere. And that's not just projection.
Yeah, but you always have to link back to the source, because the 4 years of left administration make sure that this part, this part of truth must not be discussed. This is a blind spot of American free speech, right? American.
There's no
claim to
such
have
thing
free
as a
speech.
blind spot of free speech. Censorship is the problem. X is what opened up the floodgates of information. We know things now about our own government and the people in the government. I mean, Comey should be arrested by Monday about 10 a.m. There are people who should be arrested in this country. And I hope to God Trump pulls the trigger and orders Kash Patel to make serious arrests throughout this country, including Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, so comedian list out all the blind spot that was introduced to be politically correct, not to speak about it. But these are the loophole that have been used to infiltrate United States. Okay, so focus on that.
I don't know. It's a big world, and when you start, the more you learn and the more history you read, you realize how little you know. But I just know there's bad actors out there that X has thoroughly exposed, and really, the Republican Party is a serious problem with regards to our national debt, and the Democrats especially. But the Democrats are in the leaders of the Democrat Party are so crazy, so low IQ and dangerous to have them in charge again of the United States government. If the Republicans and Trump don't like lay some serious work to prevent this country from going far left again, I mean, it'll be crazy to think if that happens. But even this whole Joe Biden prostate cancer story today, it's a never-ending interior propaganda against the American people. It's like a psyop every single day with the fake news. And anyways, I'm just saying all communication is spam, it's all projection, and it's all hypnosis. Think for yourself and question authority.
What's the story with Biden's prostate?
Apparently, like my uncle passed away from prostate and bone cancer, and it was a long demise, very painful death. And Joe Biden is not in a very good physical state of condition at this present moment right now. Nonetheless,
Tragic.
yeah, it's in the news.
I think it metastasized, Norm, is what they're saying. It got into one section where his bones are. So it's a question.
Does that?
Yeah, they have much better procedures now for prostate cancer. I mean, obviously they can remove the prostate, but it's a question how much it metastasized.
That's tragic.
I think we truly closer to coexistence by peace through strength, right? And I mean, when I came here January, right, the Jewish were all like very guilty, trying to explain, trying to justify it, but now no more, right? Focus on peace through strength and unity of the society, and hostage is one way to divide the Israeli society. And I think Trump gave a speech to the Arab nation, peace through strength. And I hope, I don't know, I look forward to hearing some of the view. I hope.
But Dave, why Jews weren't on this app? There were no apologist Jews on this app prior to October 7th. Jews on this app have always, vehemently defended Israel and its justification for what it does. I mean, Israel is not an immoral state, so I don't know why you get off premising your statement there that Jews on this clown house app were apologists prior to October 7th, Dave. So I hate to tell you, nothing has changed, and there's nothing new under the sun. It's hate to break the news to you, Dave.
Yeah, what I observed is, I mean, when I came here, January 2025, or when I was at a platform immediately after October 7th, what I saw was Jews were saying, why they are doing this, why people are killing us, why we have been doing this, and arguing from all historical aspects. We were there, blah, blah. And then I think by adopting that peace through strength, there's no more need to justify anymore. You are that Israel is the outpost of the Western civilization, deep into the middle of surrounding nation who just hate certain things, right? So if you want for America to prevent
Dave, Jews have bent over backwards to try to create peace over there. They have done everything they could possibly do to create peace. But when your neighbors shoot rockets at you and launch sneak attacks at concerts, enough is enough. October 7th was the straw that broke the camel's back. Jews don't attack, Jews want peace. So I don't know what you're even talking about, Dave.
Synagogue attendance
I'm
is
talking
up.
about big picture,
Dave, synagogue attendance is up over 30% in the United States after October 7th, just so you know. So people haven't walked away or hiding. They're actually coming out with much more identity than they had before.
No, comedian, I'm saying the same thing Mike Huckabee is talking, right? Israel is a main entree, the beginning of the big dish. The big dish is US, right? Two are linked, right? And I'm talking about this is we also have to talk about in what way US are weakened, right? Not to be consistently understand, you have to protect your outpost. And that was last 4 years was inconsistency. Now it's more consistent. And this has to be discussed to be made clear all the time because you have people like Nuha. So why we going to have coexistence? Because the October 7 and the subsequent span, and you can track which nation that are spending this, and you can also track which legacy media are supporting it, like BBC and so on. You can find out all these things, right? And now people are more aware how in the West, the people in the West, how they are surrounded by all this infiltration, how their kindness allowing to come here, allowing them to work in maybe civil servant and so on, they could be used to intimidate people, not to see the truth, to prosecute people who try to speak the truth. So we are now closer to the possibility that through truth, we understand how the infiltration has been going on by decades. And the fact that Israel will
But Dave, you're doing what everybody does, which is history hypnosis. The whole point is to be in the now, Dave. The now demands security. The now demands intelligence. This is an eternal operation for the soldiers of Israel. The young people of Israel will never stop going in the military. They will always be defending the homeland, the perimeter. There's no stopping terrorism. There's no stopping crime, Dave. So your history hypnosis, though interesting, I got to tell you, it's falling on deaf ears.
For you, it's deaf here. The whole thing is about education, educating the people in the West. In US, we can do Clubhouse. For Europe, it's impervious to Clubhouse. And Europe has to be the focus point, okay? Education.
I'm not sure. I feel like you're missing Dave, comedian. I'm not sure. You feel like aggressive towards him. I don't feel like you two are disagreeing or anything, unless you're saying that it's already like Europe is already lost and there's no hope for Europe. Are you saying that?
No, I think Giorgia Meloni is going to be very important key in reversing the whole situation, right? Giorgia Meloni have been in Trump overall office, and you could see both of them have very good sympathy and understand exactly. And Giorgia Meloni say, she want to see a stronger Western civilization. She want to make Western civilization stronger. And I think 1 or 2 days ago, she was with the Chancellor of Germany, right? And I think the next step is, I hope and I wish Giorgia Meloni could help to, visit Israel, speak to the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, and try to connect these three important countries, US, Germany, and Israel, and has to figure out a way to have free movement for your Prime Minister, to be able to work more closely with the Europe and address the main factor that divide the population of the society of European nation, that is migration politics. By establishing peaceful region in Middle East that aim for prosperity, and that may align hopefully with what Trump would like to do with some of the Arab nation, but not publicly speaking about. So if that happens, Amos wish for coexisting through peace and strength and prosperity will happen.
I think there's got to be some type of communication advancement, or there has to be an interest in communication. You know, the other side has to take an interest in peace. They have to take an interest in coexistence. They have to break down their own stereotypes, bigotry, racism, and hatred. And, you know, essentially, it's like enlightenment. So until everybody essentially knows that we're all just energy and it's all metaphysics, and when you decide to do terrorism or commit a crime, you're a low IQ scumbag piece of shit who should be put in the ground. There's no explanation for murdering somebody who's an innocent person. It's terrorism. And you have to be able to identify that. If you are a Muslim Palestinian and you can't say that October 7th was a dastardly terrible act of murder, and you think that, oh, it's justification for what the Israelis did to them over the past 20 years, you have to look at it in the whole context. No, you don't have to look at it in the context. That's what war is. It's a moment in time where there's an escalation of hostilities. And what they did to those people at that concert is bloody murder and terrible terrorism. And every person who was responsible for that there should be a justice over their head, and they should be put in the ground. I mean, that's what's happening, and it's going to continue happening until this cessation of hostilities is over and the hostages are freed. I mean, it's coming, and it's not going to stop. The fact that Trump is president is changing things in a way which we never would have happened. Trump is a big miracle, and Benjamin Netanyahu is a big miracle, and all these people that hated Benjamin Netanyahu on this app prior to October 7th, shame on them, because he's a courageous lion, and that's why he is where he's at today.
A comedian like Normal said, there's no big difference between what you're saying and what I'm saying. I'm just, like for example, instead of saying Benjamin Bibi, yeah, that's what the people in Israel call him. Instead of calling him miracle, call him a wartime prime minister like Winston Churchill, because that statement alone will tell a lot of context beyond miracle, right?
Hey, Dave, if Churchill ran for office right now, if Churchill ran for office when he was doing what he did, he wouldn't have gotten elected. Actually, he didn't get elected when he ran, if you remember. So as we look back in hindsight, it's some of the great leaders in the world, if they ran, they wouldn't be elected. It's like kind of interesting.
Comedian, let me understand something. Are you Bibist? You're Bibi supporter? Comedian.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Me too. Got a problem with it, Amos?
Yes, I have a problem with it. Exactly, I have a problem with all those.
You know, that's why they make vanilla and chocolate, isn't it? That's why you have democracies. You have democracies because the electorate elects who they want. And it seems like the electorate in Israel overwhelmingly wanted that. It's not Mapam and Mapai. They didn't get elected, have they? Since 1977? They haven't been in office. So, isn't that what the electorate wants? We live in democracies. Like them or not, that's what the majority wants there.
Abby.
Yeah, that is my name. Zashem Shali. Ken.
Abby, you know what's happened in 1932 in Germany?
Hey, I wasn't around in 1932, but I am around now.
In the Germany?
Hey, were you around in 1932, Amos?
Do you know what's happening?
Or was it Amos and Andy back then?
Who the majority of the Germans selected? You know?
It's not.
I ask you if you know or you don't know majority. Those people who say majority and majority.
Yeah, that's a democracy. When you elect someone,
Caleb,
like
all
or
you
not.
can do is write a
Because it's
military manual
democracy.
discussing the
Yeah,
intelligence and defense failure. It's
you know,
not
in
the
our country
install.
elected a Senate and a
Hitler go
House
up,
and a
Hitler
president
up,
that were Republicans. Because
Hitler
that's what
go
our electorate
up,
wants.
Hitler go up with the majority. Stop shouting majority. He's a
I'm going to
corruption
continue to
person.
shout majority.
You
That's how
think the
democracies
Israelians,
work.
stupid Israelians, more corruption it will be. More
Yeah,
he
so
will
what do you
be
do to a
supported.
democracy? You want to end democracy and just take
Even
over. That's what you want, right?
even Donald Trump fed up of him. Even Donald Trump is feeding up of those.
See, Amos, I mean, this is
Netanyahu.
No, he isn't.
Amos.
Don't
This is
He's on his
so
way to
proud
Israel.
about
You
it
have
that
no
you
idea,
support
Amos.
him. Don't
don't
be
know.
so proud
Are you in the
that you
government?
support
Are you in the
him.
government in the U.S.? Are you part of his diplomacy? Do you know, Amos? Or are you just pontificating?
I
don't
know one thing.
You're gonna
The
invite the
last
president
hostage,
on
I
route.
know,
Our vice
I know,
president is on route to Israel.
I know one
Yes.
thing. I
part of
know.
what?
Maybe learn to listen also. I know one thing. I know
Part
one
of
thing.
what?
The parents of the last hostage are released. American soldier have been released. One word they didn't say thank you for Bibi Netanyahu. The only thanks they get is Donald Trump.
No, we thanked Bibi. You're wrong.
No, they did not.
No, you're wrong. And
And,
spoke to Bibi
I
right away.
usually know what's going on in Israel. And
Yeah, you do.
I know what
You don't want
I know what the
democracy.
Israelians did to these parents. Poor people, I feel sorry for them.
You obviously don't want a democracy, do you?
How did they lie? Even the Israelis lie. How did the Hamas took him as an hostage? They say that like he become chicken. Like they say, by the way, the same they say about the hostage. I don't remember his name. Before the war, what was the last hostage name? The people dirty his name that he didn't fight against the Hamas. That's the same. They dirty his name. Why? Because he didn't say thank you for the king. Thank you for the king of Bibi Netanyahu.
He did.
You stupid.
But it's okay.
Don't say majority.
Don't call me
This
stupid.
stupid majority used that you מנפנפת במajority שלך. They are so dummy, so stupid, so ununderstandable, nothing. The people go out in the streets. Where is Sam? Where is Yair Netanyahu right now, you know?
Why are
Where's
you
my-
spending your time on Clubhouse?
My
Where are
son's
you
in Gaza. My son in Gaza.
Why are you spending your time on Clubhouse and not lobbying and working to affect your government if it's so important to you? Then why are you wasting your time here? Why don't you get on
I'm in Clubhouse or
make your
you're in
changes?
Clubhouse?
Changes. You're just full of
Don't
shit
you want to
because they won't
argument
get off
with
your
me?
head. No, it doesn't
Now
work
you
that
want
way.
to argument with me?
If I don't
Why
like the
I'm in
government-
Clubhouse?
Yeah, but Abby, it's Clown House. It's the easiest option. It doesn't require any money or energy to open a room on this app to let people run their mouths for days on end.
Majority. So there is not ועדת חקירה ממלכתית. There is nothing in Israel. Only divided the people between religious, not religious, leftist, rightist. Look what's happening in Kaplan. Do you know what's happening in Israel today? You shouting there from the state, I'm Bibis. Who is this fucking bastard, you know? When he bring Israel against the court, against the police, against everybody. He put the security minister.
I would
Who
say
fired
Yossi
the
Balin
security
is a
minister?
fucking bastard. You want to
You
see
tell
who he
us
is?
what's
I'm going to tell
happening
you
in
Yossi Balin is. You got, it's a democracy. Handle it. Accept it. Deal with it.
What democracy? The democracy was
Don't get
before.
involved in politics.
This
if you don't like it.
democracy was before
You
the
don't like
7th
it,
of
get involved in
October.
politics. That's what you do in a
This
democracy.
democracy is before the 7th of October. They are not in contact with the people anymore. Democracy, all the statistics say against the coalition. They sending my children to the military and they send their children to the synagogue to learn democracy. What democracy is it? Who are they to send my children to the military and their children to the synagogue? Who are they?
I don't know. Tell me about majority rules. How's that work? Do you ever study government, Amos?
Bibi, could
You ever
choose
study government?
between the majority and let the people from the like Benvir and Smotrich piece off from the government and take the majority, rightist, more rightist like Lieberman, like Yair Lapid. He could make my majority. He
Well, you
could
know
do,
what the problem
but
is?
this guy,
There's
and
people
you know
that
what
think
he
differently
did?
than you do, and they have a right to
He's
vote.
the only prime minister that sits in the prime minister and is corruption in court every day. Every day it is in cases in court against policemen, against everybody.
Yeah, and then you will be done.
Stupid understand nothing in the inside politics.
Stupid, and I understand nothing in politics.
You
You think I
understand
know
nothing
nothing
only
about
from
politics?
America to shout and shout from America. It's the only thing you know.
Really? It's the only thing I know. You think that? Really?
I'm sure that you understand nothing.
You never know who you're talking to,
I'm
right?
sure about it.
You never know who you're talking to.
During the Second World War, right? Everybody are persuaded by Hitler propaganda. Please negotiate for peace. Negotiate for the peace, right? Until Winston Churchill said, "You cannot negotiate the peace when your head is in the mouth of the Hitler tiger," right? And that's why Winston Churchill, even with everybody say peace, peace, negotiate, diplomacy, peace. And Winston Churchill showed to the world and eventually to the King of UK, you cannot negotiate when your head are in the mouth of your enemy. And therefore your enemy very effective.
Dave, I think you're in the Matrix. Might want to check your Wi-Fi connection. Can't quite hear what you're saying. Anyways, I just want to offer a little prayer of peace for everybody here in the Coexistence room. Just take the deepest breath of the day through your nose. Hold it for 10 seconds. Let it go and say, I am a flower. Take
How do they coexist in Chicago, by the way, comedian? How do you coexist there?
I look around all the time. I don't stay on my cell phone, and I stay constantly alert. I mean, you're going to get robbed, mugged, or shot if you're not vigilant. There's crime everywhere, and they live on the trains. They live on all the intersections. Crime is an epidemic, and the liberal, communist, socialist, terrorist leaders of this city could give two shits whether you live or die. They could give two shits about you. They want your property taxes. They want your income taxes. They want to tax you to death. They want to borrow hundreds of billions of dollars to fill up luxury hotels with 60,000 Venezuelans. They're driving people out of their homes. You know, Cook County, Chicago, is one of the only counties where they will auction your house out from underneath you, even if you don't even know you owe the taxes. We're one of the only cities that still do that.
And comedian, how much do they borrow just to pay their pension?
It was like, I don't know, 80% of all pension payments are borrowed funds.
Like Chicago, or is it's Cook County. I think they have one of the most poorly funded pensions in the U.S.
Yeah, it's a catastrophe waiting to happen, and I think all the people who are retired now, they're thanking God that they made it out alive, and they're like, well, fuck it, you know. They all know that this is the destination is to the bottom. I mean, that it's really what Congress and the Federal Reserve are doing, but most people don't realize that the global banking industrial complex, they're the ones who at the end of the day, as they like to say here at Clown House, are going to be the ones who say, sorry, folks, you owe us the money. There's no debt forgiveness for federal debt, for state debt, for all these pensions. The banks are going to collect, and all these homeowners are going to get pinched. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm just trying to be peaceful now and coexist now.
Edmund, what they're going to have to do is just default. They don't have a choice, but it's just how much are they going to default by? I don't know.
I don't know why there can't be some type of there'll have to be some kind of international debt forgiveness consortium where Japan, China, everybody comes together and they're like, okay, you know, $10 trillion of debt is gone. Can we all shake on it? I mean, that's theoretical. So,
No, that's all they'll do. They'll just it's like a normal bankruptcy. It's not that you can't pay on it; you just can't pay 100 cents on the dollar. But the problem is these people think, oh, don't worry, my pension's guaranteed, it's protected, because Bush signed the Pension Guarantee Act. But that's the problem is if you read that fund, it's probably bankrupt in about 2 years. And if they pass it over to the federal government, you only get like 50, 60 cents on the dollar. So they're defaulting. That's what hurt the city of Detroit here. It used to be one of the biggest cities in the U.S., and then everyone moved out. And to your point, they just kept getting more communist dipshit mayors running the city. And didn't you say the new mayor of Chicago is worse than Lori Lighthead?
Yeah, because she was at least a corporate attorney. This guy's a communist Marxist history teacher from high school, head of the Chicago Teachers Union. The Chicago's teacher union is bleeding this city dry. Every taxpayer here has to revolt. I mean, there's got to be an organized political effort to put competent leadership in who can actually lower property taxes and free the people. I mean, Chicago has become a slave city, and the whole country will become a slave country if Congress doesn't start cutting spending and stop borrowing. Chairman Powell just said we are on an unsustainable debt path. It's sustainable now, and he did a Freudian slip, and he said it's unsustainable now. But everybody knows what's going to happen. It's going to be hyperinflation because the banks are global. They're agnostic with regards to nationhood status or countries. They don't really care if a country plunges themselves into debt. They have operations everywhere.
The thing is look at gold prices. They haven't gone up. That's just how much money the dollar's lost. The dollar's been debased. And eventually they'll repudiate the dollar as the reserve currency. We're already headed there.
I don't know. That's why I thank God Trump is president.
I have a question about Chicago. How's your DA? Bad as your mayor?
She's better than the last DA, but she's even an incompetent person. There's no real prosecution of... They let people still out on cash bail because of Pritzker. You know, I love Jews, and my dad's side of the family are Jews, and being Jewish has nothing to do with it. I don't even know why I brought it up. The point is, Pritzker is a prick, and I think he's a real scumbag. And some people love him, some people hate him. I'm a little indifferent sometimes, but most of the time, that guy is the worst. He's the worst governor in this country, and he's going to run for president. He's already positioning himself to run for president.
He's not going to win. But what about your state AG? Do you know who that is? Is that
Kwame Raoul, I think his name is.
So are they prosecuting or no? I mean, like in some cities, like Philly, the DA.
Who cares if they prosecute? They don't even do capital punishment. That kid just killed 23 people at a Walmart. He got life in prison. Kill that kid. Execute him with the 22 to the head. It's the cheapest bullet. Get rid of him. Put him in a fucking body bag and bury him. His time on life is over. He killed 23 people at Walmart. Done. Taxpayers are not going to foot $120,000 a year plus to house that piece of shit. I'm telling you, the country has to doge the capital punishment system.
Did they have death penalty in Illinois?
No, they got to start.
No, we don't. They got rid of it.
Do they have it in Illinois?
No, they got rid of it.
No,
they got rid of it a long time ago.
$3.
That's one of the biggest scams we have going, is we have mass murderers who never get executed for their mass murders. I mean, the kid that killed all those people in Highland Park, that shooter, he got like Louis Primo or fuck his name, he got a life in prison sentence. I can't understand why we are, as taxpayers, continue to vote for people who don't support capital punishment and the economic frugality of our judicial legal system. These prison complexes are draining us dry. Everything is draining everybody dry. And taxes are only going up. They have to. So the voters have to really vote for the person. And that person has to espouse frugality at all and business-like things for all things. If you're not a business frugal person or fiscally conservative, I can't understand why anybody keeps voting for these people who just keep kicking the can down the road in this country.
Well, I mean, our comedy, our biggest problem is Social Security and Medicare. That's unsustainable. I mean, they're both bankrupt. It's just a matter of them admitting it.
I agree. It's terrible. It's horrible. We're fucked in this country.
I don't know how your education system is in Chicago, but here in Michigan, you know what they did? Like, this is back in 2009 or 10 when the economy was in the shitter. they found out, like these school districts found out that they couldn't pay on these pensions, right? Because the teachers never had to put anything in. And then starting like 2009 or 10, all teachers had to start paying in 6%. Well, let's say you were retired, you were going to be a teacher that retired in like whatever, 2013 or 2014, whatever, 2012. You never paid into your whole career. You only started paying in for like 2 years. Now the younger teachers had to pay in their whole career. That's just like the first person that collected Social Security, how much she paid in and how much she drawed out, because she lived till she was like, what, like 99? It's a fucking Ponzi scheme.
Well, if there's a stock market crash, then everybody will say, "Oh fuck, it was a Ponzi scheme." But if they can just keep inflating the stock market, they'll prevent anyone from getting wise to what's actually happening. And it's the Federal Reserve through quantitative easing that buys up trillions of dollars in stocks and inflates the PE of a lot of these companies that should be fucking worth nothing because they make no fucking money.
What do you think happened during the Obama presidency? They said, "Oh, look at how well your 401k did." The Federal Reserve kept rates at 0% till his term was done. Then Janet Yellen came in and started raising rates. So, like, again, it's
Chairman Powell said, "I don't make meetings with the president. I wouldn't dare call the president." He didn't even say I wouldn't dare. Chairman Powell's part of the problem, but Congress is really the problem. Chairman Powell seems to be a reputable person, and he is saying that Congress is the problem, that these Democrat big $1 trillion debt creators are the problem, that he's legally obligated to do what Congress tells him to do, which is to lend them $1 trillion at a tranche. So the whole 35% of our entire economy is funded with debt creation because of Congress and the Federal Reserve. That's 35 cents out of every dollar created in this country, which is the GDP. So we have a major economic problem, but Israel's got a big problem too. Everybody's got a big problem. It's just never going to end.
Did you ever see that clip? I know you've seen the Instagram reel. It showed like the families, how they lived from 1948 to 19...
In Amos's room. Somebody believe it? Harry, moderator in Coexistence room. Somebody believe it?
I feel honored. I haven't said one word the whole time, and I just became a moderator. I don't know how this happens, man. I just feel honored.
I even don't believe what I see in front of my eyes. Harry, a moderator.
I don't believe it either. Honestly, I'm shocked.
I'm shocked. I don't believe what's happened here, but this is more.
I think the Mashiach is coming.
And more will have to give me some explanation tomorrow morning. I'll ask him what's happened if he make my room a Canist room. It's not the...
I thought we're coexisting, so are you not coexisting with Canist also?
I prefer Palestinian and Canist, to be honest.
Well, I mean, you have to coexist with everybody. That's what coexisting is, right?
I prefer the Palestinian and the Canist. I think they are much more educated.
Much more civilized, right?
I know one thing, that when I come to the clubhouse, I go after Amir Zoom. That's a fact. On the
That's because they're all your best friends.
No, it's because they're more clever than the Canist.
But Amos, you don't teach meditation, and neither does Edward. So you're playing the dance, he's playing the dance, but you got to realize it's a dance. But it's not like you need to be more of a Mozart or a creationist, because coexistence depends entirely upon those who create peace, and those who deny peace or don't even talk about it. They're the problem.
You open a room tonight, you call it Amos's room. Why?
What? I didn't call it Amos's room. I called it the Tao Te Ching. I was playing the Tao Te Ching, the audiobook from Lao Tzu, which is all about governance and creating peace amongst people. I mean, the Chinese psychology and the Chinese philosophy is something that should be studied. They have a very mature and intellectual and intelligent way of viewing society, of viewing peace, of viewing coexistence. You should read it. I mean, none of these Arab Muslims on this app, or these so-called Arab Muslims, because you don't know who any of these people are, That's part of the problem. Is this app is like a delusional communication hypnosis bullshit game. Don't fall for it. It's literally just hypnosis and entertainment. There's no real education that happens on this app. Every room is a self roast barbecue, and it's all entertainment. You can fight with Abby, but Abby does actual political advocacy. I mean, I'm a lazy person too. I just create clown house rooms and create content. I think that's good enough. But life is a war. I mean, it's love or war, and it's our romance, love. Anyways, you see my point. Like if you're not teaching education, if you're not doing teaching or education about peace and meditation and how to calm down and relax and coexist as opposed to spreading nonsense propaganda hypnosis, you're part of the problem too. Try to be a part of the solution and try to educate people.
What I'm trying is not so much success.
That's because you're not framing it correctly. You have to call it an educational course.
Too much. Let other people. I want to hear Black Joe.
Just change the name of the title. How to create peace in your life. How to create shalom bais.
Joe Black. I want to speak with Joe Blackator. She had me, and I had her back now. And she looked to me like smart. Joe Blackator, can you speak to Amos a little bit?
Well, I just want to speak to advocacy. I've been doing it for 15 years. I've had 34 states change their policy as a result of it. It's not easy. You can't just pop in and pop out and change it. Change policy. But I've done it for 34 states. It's taking 10 years, 15 years. And you have to go in. You have to develop 220 people at first, build them up to 200, and create little warheads based around whatever policy you want to change.
What I understand that you're a kind of a senator or something like this?
Well, some might call me a lobbyist. I do get paid for what I do through an organization called edchoice.org. I created the organization, and they gain results around specific education policy. We all have...
Pay you money, like Donald Trump pay you money to bring people to vote for him?
No, not to vote for him. I get paid money to influence legislators to write laws that favor education choice.
You're speaking too big of words for him to understand.
To be honest, it's the first time I agree with Harry, but for a simple kibbutznik in Israel, can you try as, with simple words, what you connected to the Palestinian-Israeli conflict?
I don't do anything outside of America. I won't.
Only inside America, and you're kind of a Jewish supporter, yes?
I am in tune with Abby's issues, and I favor Abby's efforts. How does that sound?
It doesn't sound good to him because he doesn't like Abby.
I know, right?
To be honest, your English is too complicated for me, so I just...
you gotta speak on a third grade level for him, okay?
Comedian and Harry are too much Bibi supporters, so it was too much for me.
I saw Ariel Sharon in Jerusalem when I did a Birthright Citizens trip, and it was unbelievable. It was like walking into an entire country and culture that I knew nothing about, and there's Ariel Sharon giving a speech at some festival political gathering.
If you put Ariel Sharon on the table, the only good thing that he did that he released Gaza from all the settlers. One good thing he did in his life. The rest of the thing of his life, he was like Ben Gvir, go inside Jerusalem, make fire, all the Middle East would be fired because of Ariel Sharon. And it's well known that his son sits in prison for me.
When I was in Israel last, I got to
corruption.
see
Like Yair Netanyahu thinking corruption in America, in Miami, that his son sit in prison. At least take a case of his corruption. But that's well known. This is a fact,
Well, I mean, there's, if Abby was here, not many people think about it, but until you've experienced it, you don't realize that the law is very subjective and super political. So, Israel, as being a micro state, has micro corruption. I mean, or macro corruption. There's corruption in all forms of government because of essentially fiat currency. So, the point, Amos, is I mean, I don't think you're going to achieve any goals by creating rooms unless you reframe it. I think you should just reframe coexistence to a seminar on how to create peace. You have to essentially become a communications expert. And that's really what a lot of people do want to achieve on this app, a lot of non native English speakers, because peace can probably only actually be created through communication. So the more effective of a speaker you are, and the more psychology you have ingested into your psyche, the more you can help a lot of these Arab Muslim radical terrorists that float around this app. And you know who they are, Prince and other psychopaths on here who wish death upon Jews. And it's ingrained into their psyche that they're Jew haters. They're crazy people. They're stupid. They got Jewish derangement syndrome.
Comedian, try to listen. You're speaking and you never...
kindergarten level comedian, kindergarten level.
From my point of view, you speak with your enemy. Let's say, for example, you're not my enemy, you're Jewish, you're a BP supporter, you're not supposed to be my enemy, even that I hate you more than I hate the Palestinians, some of you, like Shuki. But...
well, what do you think about Bibi's son? Because...
you speak with your enemy. You try to understand your enemy. Every place the soldier, when they go to protect the base, they teach about who is the enemy against, how many weapons, where he hiding, how he hiding, what is he doing. You have to know who is your enemy. And
yeah, but the philosophy...
this enemy you have to fight.
But Amos, the point is you can't... Amos, the point is you can't improve the world unless you improve yourself. I really believe that no matter how hard you try to change the world, unless you really improve yourself daily, you're never going to improve the world. So, I don't know. Maybe that's narcissistic, self-centered, or selfish, but I thoroughly believe that. And I try to improve myself every day. But improving your communication or philosophy or psychology is what the opposition is not doing. They're not interested in peace because they don't study philosophy and understand how to create peace or even the concept of peace. And it's not just externally, it's internally too. But Jewish philosophy does deal with that. So, I don't know what to tell you, but if you read this book, Tanya, I think it explains a lot about why there is no coexistence and how there could be coexistence. It's like an upgraded model of psychology. The opposition doesn't seem to have it. Jews, in my opinion, have it. They have it because they do have it. It's called Tanya. It's my opinion.
I didn't understand anything you just said to me.
It is a little... It is basically universal consciousness, which is what coexistence is. But how do you permeate that outside? The only way to do that has to be through communication.
Once... Wait, I'll let you speak. The last one, right? If somebody know who are those people who sit in Oslo, the cleverest people from both sides, Israel and Palestinians, say nights and days and nights in hotel, very secretly, somewhere in Oslo, in Norway, and have come to a kind of agreement. The Palestinian will recognize the Jewish state Israel for the and the Jewish will recognize the Palestinian for the Palestinian state. And it was very, very close, very close to peace agreement enough, like we have with Egypt, like we have with Jordan, very close to Syria, with the father of Assad, not Assad, with the father of Assad, we also have been very close.
Ryan, I'm not a
If
congressman.
somebody
I'm a
knows the
congressman-elect, you
history,
schmuck.
Israel always look for coexistence.
And this is a live stream podcast,
with
just
the hand
FYI.
for peace. And
This is a meditation.
the only way.
I really don't want to be here much longer,
For
but
any agreement, and it will be happening in the end. It depends how many bloodshed will, how many soldiers will get killed, and I don't believe, and it's not me who say it, it's also officers, the big officers, the cleverest people, much more than me in the TV and everywhere. They say what we didn't do in the last 16 months, 7, I don't know how long, we will not do in the next 2 years. We can't do it. Yahya Sinwar, let's admit it.
Amos, look at Dubai. You know how peaceful these Arab countries are that Trump went to?
Comedian, shut your mouth. Learn to listen a little bit, listen.
I'm saying peace isn't in the future, peace is now.
Stop, shut your mouth. The only way is agreement. Only peace agreement will release the hostages. It's the only way. And what I know from the little bit news I get only from the internet, what's going on, it will happen in the next 1-2 weeks. They will come to agreement. Israel will go outside of Gaza. The Hamas will release the hostages in the end. And those Hamasnik will go outside of Gaza. This will be the end of the war. And Bibi will say, I did. How many soldiers die? How many hostages?
Nobody wins. It's a funeral procession. But why you think Hamas is going to leave, I don't think you're accurate in that assessment. They're staying put. They're in defense positions. They're not leaving.
For me, it doesn't matter if they stay or not stay. Even if they go out, somebody else will come. You think he will become a Zionist? You think that whoever will control, who will be the day after control, he will become a Zionist? What do you think? You can't change the people's mind. They all support Hamasnik, whether they admit it or not admit it. They are very poor today. They have nothing in their life, some tents and some sand, and they are like the hostages at the same level. The poor people. What do you expect?
Listen, people aren't...
They don't have food to eat, water to drink. What do you expect from them to do?
Amos, have you done an actual assessment of what war is like? I mean, have you ever heard of a good war or what that creates? It creates despair and devastation and chaos. And that's exactly what has happened. But
there is one person in this room who knows better than me what is a war means. What is the word WAR means?
I know, but then what you do?
Give me one person in this room who know better from me what is a war means.
I'm just telling you, when you read history books and you read about history and the number of occurrences of mass devastation.
I know from my experience why you solve only in a diplomacy way, only with.
It's a funeral. It's a funeral procession, and eventually the funeral ends.
become a really beastie room. I feel a little bit
Spicy.
now we have a new moderators. Let's see. Somebody will surprise me. Want to give me talk? Let's hear you.
Yeah, let's hear you talk about how much you know more about war than I do.
Let's see, what do you know about?
Yeah, I was a combat medic in Iraq for 16 months, so let's compare notes. Let's compare notes.
Yeah, okay, so you know.
I got the t-shirts, my guy.
So you know what is a war. You've been in Iraq, the tank, the team, and you know what is a war. Yes?
Yeah, and I've watched and held my friends while they died because you get shot in the head or the heart, I'm not God. And I don't know how to fix that.
So you know what is a war means, you know what his body means, and your friends die in your hands. Yes, you try to save them.
When a comedian is saying that it's a funeral procession, it's a funeral procession. It's young men that go to war that fight other young men that they don't know each other because of old men that do know each other.
I remain steadfast in.
You think the coalition today in Israel, the religious, they're in the coalition, when they send their children to the synagogue, they can send my children to die in a war. You think it's reasonable? You think somebody in Israel will accept it?
My point is, like, you know, I joined the military because I thought I was being an honorable part of, like, a patriotic system that my family had been a part of for forever, as far as I knew. And then, you know, the problem was we were being steered by people that were making us go fight people that we didn't know, you know, and because they knew the older parties, and it was for naught. And that's the problem, is when our government, which is governamentis, is like to steer the mind. When the steering of the mind goes left, and then they push all of us that are trying to be patriotic and trying to do the right thing, and they hang us out in the fucking breeze, you know, I call bullshit.
Listen, the point is, peace isn't around the corner. Peace is now. And if people knew that, there would be peace now.
Yeah, but how do you tell people that like to have pissing contests staring into